Today I'm going to show you how to knock up a really simple, easy, quick barbecue sauce that's going to blow your socks off. Welcome along to Barbecue Life, where great barbecue doesn't have to cost a fortune. As I said at the beginning, today we're doing a really simple barbecue sauce. It's going to involve some peaches in there to give it a really nice fruity, sweet flavour. And we're going to be cooking this on the Weber kettle directly in a nice cast iron skillet. But you can be cooking this in a frying pan on the hob if you wanted to. You can be cooking this in like a casserole style cast iron dish on your barbecue. Just because this is cooked outside doesn't mean you can't bring it inside, and just because I'm using a pan that's got quite a large bottom on it doesn't mean that you can't go for a deeper pan yourself. So first thing we need to do is we need to light up our coals. So I've used a chimney starter and we've dumped our coals into the middle of the Weber kettle. Get our grill grates into the middle and get the vents fully open so we can get this up nice, burning all the rubbish off of the grill grates and getting things up to a nice hot temperature. So once our temperatures have started to stabilise around 200, anywhere between 200 and 225, now we want to get our cast iron in. So as I said, I'm using a large cast iron skillet. It's got no handle on it, but you can use anything you like. Just get it into the middle, directly over them coals, so we've got a heat source underneath the bottom, and this is what's going to help bring our sauce to the boil and thicken things up as we go. So we want to get that in, get a little bit of oil in there, and let that start coming up to temperature. Once it cuts to a frying temperature, then we're going to go in with an onion. So I've got a whole red onion here that we've diced up really small, and we're just going to get that in as the base of our sauce. So we're keeping that moving, lid on and off every couple of minutes. We don't want to keep the lid off all the time, because then we're just going to have immense heat underneath and we'll burn our charcoal out before we've finished our cook. So we just want to be taking the lid on and off, keeping things moving every couple of minutes so that nothing sticks and we don't burn any onions. Once they've started to go translucent, this is when we can add in our garlic. So we're just going to crush in a couple of garlic cloves into there, and this is going to cook really quickly, the garlic, especially at these temperatures. So we don't want that in there very long before we need to break our fry. So get that in, stir it just around 30-40 seconds. That's all you need. Once you can really start to smell that fragrance coming out of the garlic, this is when we need to break the fry. So we're going to start going in with some of our wet ingredients. So a key ingredient in this that I love, but you don't have to keep in there if you don't want to, you can completely drop this out, is some whiskey. So I've used two different types of whiskey today. I've got some Jim Beam Peach, which is a bourbon that's got a peach infusion in there, and I've got some Monkey Shoulder smoked malt whiskey, and this stuff is absolutely amazing. If you love smoky flavours, then you should really give it a try. I found it in Waitrose. It's not the cheapest whiskey out there. I think I paid about 36 quid for the bottle, but it's really nice, and it's made of peat, so that's what gives it its smoky flavour. So it's not actually smoked itself, but the way that it's distilled gives it a distinct smoky flavour, and they both work really well in this sauce. So we're going to just get a little glug of each into this pan. That's going to break that fry, stop that onion from frying away, and get it into a bit more of a boil. Same with that garlic before it burns and goes bitter. Now we need to start adding some more of our ingredients. So next we want to go in with 60 ml of balsamic vinegar and 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. So this is going to give us our nice acidic side to this sauce. We're not making this sauce with ketchup, we are making it from scratch. If you used to be using ketchup, then you wouldn't be needing to add so much, or if any, vinegar to this sauce. So this is what really lifts our barbecue sauce and gives it that nice vinegary tang. Next we're going in with 2 whole cans of peaches. So these are peaches in a light syrup, and this is going to help sweeten our sauce. Then we're going to go in with about 100 ml of water. So this might sound a little bit strange, but we need the water in there because I want all of these flavours to infuse over time. If it's too dry to begin with, then it's not going to be cooking in the pan for so long, and I want all of these flavours to really sort of meld in together. By adding that water and then evaporating it back out again, that's what gives us a really nice equal flavour right the way across this sauce. So after that water, we're going to go in with a whole carton of passata. So this is a 500 g carton, so we're going all the way in with that. Then about a tablespoon of tomato puree, so I've just eyeballed that and squeezed the load in the middle. Now we're going in with our spices and things, so really simple on here. So we're going in with a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of pepper, a whole teaspoon of paprika, and half a teaspoon of mustard powder. So these are our spices, our flavours to go in there. If you want to add a little bit of barbecue rub in there as well, just give it an extra burst, you can do. I've not done that today, but I have done that in the past. It's a nice addition into a barbecue sauce just to really lift the flavour, and there's lots of other herbs and spices going on inside these barbecue sauces that can really lift the flavours. But we don't need all that in here today. We've got a sweetness from the peaches and we've got our acidic from our acids, and that is just going to level out really nicely. So once we've got them herbs and spices in, the last thing we need to go in with is a couple of tablespoons of honey, just to really round out that sweetness. And all we need to do now is stir that, make sure it's all incorporated, and then we can start bringing it up to temperature. Or you can do what I did. I went in with an immersion blender and I've just started to blend up them peaches at this point, because I want that peach flavour to completely penetrate right the way through the sauce right from the beginning. If you don't have an immersion blender, then we can boil this for a little while and start to intensify these flavours, then get it into your blender back in the kitchen, blend that down and then put it back into the saucepan afterwards to finish thickening. But I've gone in with an immersion blender, so it probably wasn't the best idea to be doing that in a shallow pan. I should have done this in a deeper pan, because I'm not as immersioned with my blender as I should be, and we're getting quite a bit of mess out the outside. So if you are going to use an immersion blender, I recommend using sort of a high-sided casserole dish, or as I say, pour this out and get it into the blender, blend it down and then add it. Or an even better idea is probably just to blend down your 2 cans of peaches before you add them on the blender indoors, and then pour that in like that. So didn't massively think this through. Last time I made this, I did make it in a higher sided dish, so that's why I didn't have this issue. This time I've used a different pan and it has caused me some different issues. But as you know, with this channel, we're completely transparent in everything we do. We learn from our fails. I'll make sure that I tell you about my fails so that you don't make the same mistakes. So if you're going to be using a shallow dish, make sure that you don't use an immersion blender, because it just makes a bloody mess everywhere. So we've got everything blended down, and now all we need to do is shut that lid. We've got all that smoke coming around from my charcoal. I've not added any smoking wood, but you can do. I don't want to add any smoking wood today because I don't want a really overpowering smoky sauce. I just want a really fruity and acidic sauce. So lid on, and sort of every 10 minutes we're going to come back and we're just going to give it a stir. We're going to make sure we pull it off the sides of the cast iron, because you tend to get like a little sticky rim where things are evaporating around the edge, but you want to incorporate that back in, because that is full of flavour and intensified flavour. And once that hits the rest of the liquids that are still in the pan, it will just sort of liquefy back down and make sure that intensified flavour is back into the sauce. So we just want to continue to do this sort of every 10 minutes up to about half an hour. So half an hour, 40 minutes is where this is going to kind of get to, but you need to decide that on what consistency you want. I like my consistency to be that when I drag my spoon through the pan, it doesn't run back in on itself. That's why I wanted to use a shallower pan today rather than a deeper pan, because you can't do that in a deeper pan to show you the consistency. But on a deeper pan, all you would do is you pick it up and you would see how that runs off of the spoon. Remember that this is going to thicken up even more once it's cooled, so you don't want to be taking it really thick in the pan, because then by the time you've cooled it, you're going to be cutting it with a spoon rather than spooning it onto things. So as I say, we can run the back of the spoon through this pan and it's not running in, and that is when we take it off. And we let that cool, and then you're ready to do what you want with it. So I use this sauce in burgers as a standard burger sauce. We put this on hot dogs. I've glazed chicken with this. I've made pasta sauces with this. We had such a massive batch of it that I ate it for 2 weeks in the fridge. We just put it in a Tupperware container, stuck it in the fridge, made sure that that Tupperware container was completely clean and free of everything before we put it in there. And with the acids in there, everything will preserve for about 2 weeks in your fridge, so you can just completely devour this over the 2 weeks after cooking it. So if you like what we're doing here at Barbecue Life, then please do subscribe to the channel. Make sure that you like the video, let me know what you think. Leave me a comment. That is the most important thing. That really helps the channel grow, as well as liking the video and subscribing to the channel. But make sure you please do leave me a comment. Thank you very much for watching. Cheers.